Zimbabwean presidential candidate Saviour Kasukuwere says that he will go back to Zimbabwe and campaign ahead of the elections in August. He's currently exiled in South Africa. Kasukuwere briefed the media a short while ago in Johannesburg. He's been stressing that economic revival is going to be his priority. He's an ex-cabinet minister in former President Robert Mugabe's administration. For more on this, let's cross to SABC reporter Kaelichle Kumalo. Kaelichle, what else has he been saying?
Well, obviously, undoubtedly, Mr. Kasukuwere just spoke to the media, where he highlighted quite a litany of issues, and obviously in terms of the challenges that are facing Zimbabwe, but in the main really just announcing that he's going to be one of the key candidates ahead of the 23rd of August elections. And we saw yesterday where the candidates really went to the, just to the commission, where they were really confirming their availability. Obviously, a very interesting time for the neighboring country. But he joins us now really to look at some more issues in terms of Zimbabwe. So once again, sir, thank you so much for your time. So maybe as a first question, sir, you spoke about the issue of safety, saying it's absolutely key. And we keep hearing the issue of passenger 34 being bandied about here. Tell us about your availability and why do you see the need to go as an independent candidate in the Zimbabwean elections?
Well, first and foremostly, we took this political decision because of the challenges that have arisen within the ruling party, ZANU-PF, from 2017, and we expected that at some point the differences will be resolved and everybody move in one accord. But that was not to be. Some have been cast out because they are supposed to have been very close to President Mugabe, but I don't know who else was not, especially when we talk about ZANU-PF. Hence our decision to stand and say maybe the time has come now for us to bridge the divide in our country. The polarization, the binary politics that we have in Zimbabwe has not assisted us in the past 2-3 decades. We now need a political culture, a new culture of tolerance, of unity, and working together. We've seen the experiences that we went through in the GNU, where actually we made a lot of progress. And it is my very firm belief that if we're going to adopt a similar government structure come August 23rd, 23, we will be able to pull Zimbabwe out of its economic doldrums. It will allow us to do a couple of things. One, fight sanctions. You need a united voice to be able to go to the world and say, listen, guys, we are here as citizens of Zimbabwe, as people of Zimbabwe. We've put our difference behind us. Number two, you'll be able to give confidence to the whole world that these next 5 years will be 5 years of very focused development, not 5 years of making noise against each other. To an extent, I think the political model that we have run with in the past couple of years has not assisted us. Hence, it also brings about security challenges because the incumbent leaders want just to hold on to power. It's important that we give each other that comfort to say, no, we want you to be secure. You must have your future in our country. Everybody deserves to reconcile with everybody, but let's allow us to build a government that brings everybody together. So in our view, the issue of an independent candidate, we have had to go through a very serious political thinking process and say the best way for our country is let us hit the road running, let's get involved in the politics, but announce to Zimbabwe the intention, that is to say, we must pick a cabinet that is composed of colleagues from ZANU-PF, colleagues from the other parties, and the 7 that the president can appoint. Build an economic structure which is devoid of politics for the next 5 years. I think we've got to tune down our volume and noise making and concentrate on restoring the basic services in our country, allowing citizens to have food on their table and a job. At least that is the decent thing that we can all do as a leadership.
And also the issue of the economy has been really a center, just a very priority during your address to the media. How are you going to make sure that we see Zimbabwe really out of, these economic challenges that have just been there for some time?
Well, Zimbabwe has a couple of positions that we must take. One, let's stabilize our politics, okay? Let's also be clear in terms of our of our economic policies. You can't be changing, cutting and chopping every other day. You know, statutory instruments can't be dished out like confetti. We've got to be running our country on very clear, long-term and sustainable policies that we all agree upon. Corruption. We have the scourge of corruption in our country, huge. And unfortunately, it is now constant. There is a cabal that even runs the Financial Service Center in our country, Minister of Finance, the Central Bank and others, where you can't account. In fact, to the extent that the president has to come up with a statutory instrument to say to the central bank, you can borrow. Then you can tell that there is some smoke in the cockpit. Now, fourthly, we have to also to say we need to allow investors to come into our country. That can only be done when people know that their investments are secure and that they can be able to sell their assets and go back tomorrow if they can recoup their investments. So that stability is so critical. And obviously, lastly, if most of our people are unemployed, what good is it for a country? So we've got to go out of our way now to look at these 5 areas and say, let's fix the economy, let's bring about political stability, let's have sanctions removed, let's speak with one voice, let's attend to investment issues, let's also allow our people to succeed. You can't have a country where pilferage becomes the order of the day. On a daily basis, people are planning how to steal. Government is now about, if I'm minister, it must be about me and myself. No.
All right. Mr. Kasukuwere, thank you so much indeed for your time. Obviously, France is highlighting a lot of issues facing Zimbabwe ahead of the 23rd of August elections. With that, back to you in studio.